Hello everyone. Today I am going to discuss about the characteristics of wastewater and wastewater treatment. In previous lecture we discussed about sampling, physical, chemical and biological characteristics of sewage. Now today I am going to discuss about the microbiology of sewage, interpretation of result and effluent standards for disposal of wastewater on a land. Let us start with the first point, microbiology of sewage. Microbes play an extremely important role in the sewage treatment. It is largely through a biological digestion that sewage is converted from highly contaminated part to infectious liquid into the relatively stable one. Inert sludge and harmless effluent means these microorganisms or the microbes are very important so that it can convert infectious liquid into relatively stable liquid. So this one is the important, but needing only chlorination before it may be discharged into receiving stream, leaching bed or other disposal area. Now let us see why the chlorination and other factors are important. In generally there are two biological processes involved in sewage treatment. First one is the aerobic uh, digestion process and second one is the anaerobic digestion process. In first process, aerobic digestion is exemplified by a activated sludge process in which the waste form of primary settling tank are thoroughly aerated until active masses of microorganisms settle out of the sludge, leaving a clear effluent of relatively low organic content. In second one, a portion of the sludge is returned and mixed with the incoming raw sewage, while the remainder is pumped to digester tank. Anaerobic digestion is slower process as compared to aerobic digestion, which is typified by a large digestion tank, septic tank and cesspools. Let us discuss aerobic digestion. In aerobic digestion, as found in the activated sludge process, the key to successful operation is having two parts: providing continuous supply of oxygen and preventing excessive variations in raw sewage input. It may upset the balance in the biological population. Aerobic digestion of the sewage is a cyclic process. Activated sludge contains bacteria, fungi, protozoa and others. Sometimes nematodes as a raw sewage high in organic matter enters the system. The bacteria begin to grow the logarithmic proportions. As the bacteria grow, the protozoa, their predators also grow. Means in this process, if the bacteria grow, then the protozoa and their predators are also grow in the sewage. When the point is reached at the food is the limiting factor, both bacteria and protozoa begin to die off and forming a flock. Rotifers are able to eat small particles of flock. This flock is subsequently removed in a sedimentation tank. If the process were allowed to continue unaltered, all biological forms would eventually die off. In practice, however, a fresh sewage is added only daily and cyclic repeaters. Second process is anaerobic digestion. In this process It is simpler than activated sludge process, but it is more sensitive to an imbalance to a biological population. As the sludge is in a digestion tank or in a septic settle tank at the bottom where there is no free oxygen, then aerobic organisms, means aerobic bacteria, fungi or protozoa are there. Die off or form spores or cysts, then the two distinct biological process occurs. Acid forming bacteria, predominantly facultative anaerobes, begin to metabolize the organic matter, converting it into organic acid, aldehyde and alcohols. During this first step, the pH is lowered, means relatively or retarding further bacterial action. Means if we decrease that pH, then it decreases the bacterial action. In second phase, it is called the methane phase. First step is called the acid phase. In second phase, it begins when the group of obligate anaerobes begins to increase. These bacteria have the ability to metabolize the organic acids, so it producing the carbon dioxide and methane. The metabolism of the amino acid results in the liberation of ammonia, which is responsible to increase the pH level, which is favorable for the bacterial growth. As long as the balance of bacterial flora exists, it maintaining the pH about the 6.8 to 7.4. The digestion process continues with the production of both acid and methanes. Sudden adding of a large amount of solids to the tank may causes the excessive of the acid production and thereby upset the process by inhibiting the methane forming bacteria. Means in generally we can see that the in aerobic digestion there are two phases or two steps. In first step there is the acid step, or in first step is also called the acid phase, in which we decreases the pH of that sewage, and in second phase is also called as the methane phase, in which we increase the pH level. So these are in generally these two phases are responsible to balance the pH of that sewage, which pH help to maintain the pH between the 6.8 to 7.4. In generally we know that this phase is called the neutral phase, means acid and base both are balanced in this one. This is done due to the anaerobic digestion. Then next step is the disposal of sewage on a land. Let us see the next point. Here the microbiology of sewage is over. In this one, there in microbiology of sewage, there are also some standards of dilution based on the Royal Commission report. If there is dilution is of above the 500, then no treatment is required, means the raw sewage can be directly discharged into the volume of dilution water. If that concentration of that sewage is between the 300 to 500, then the primary treatment such as the plain sedimentation should be given to that sewage, and effluent should not contain the suspended solids more than 150 ppm. If that dilution factor of the sewage is between 150 to 300, then the treatment such as sedimentation, screening, then essential chemical precipitation are required, and the sewage effluent should not contain the suspended solids more than 60 ppm. The last one factor that standards for the dilution base is when the concentration or the dilution is less than 150, then complete through treatment should be given to that sewage, so that sewage effluent should not contain the suspended solid more than 30 ppm, and its 5 days biological oxygen demand at 18.3 degrees Celsius should not exceed than 20 ppm. Means this one is the standards of dilution based on the Royal Commission report. There are also standards for the discharge of sewage and industrial effluent on the surface water. First of all, let us see the standards of disposal of sewage on a land. If that effluent containing the BOD, then the tolerance limit of that sewage is 20 milligram per liter, and on surface water sources and inland surface water there is a 30 milligram per liter. In public sewer it may be 500 milligram per liter. These are the limits which is given by ISI standards for the disposal of sewage on land, surface water and public sewers. For the cod there is no limit, but in inland surface water there is a limit of 250 milligram per liter. Then pH value of if then sewage is allowed to dispose in land surface water, then the limit of pH is 5.5 to 9.0, and if the sewage is allowed to dispose in a public sewer, then the pH limit is again 5.5 to 9.0. Temperature, there is also a temperature limit. For the inland surface water there is the limit is 40 degrees Celsius, and for the public sewer it is 45 degrees Celsius. Then again sulfide fluorides are also having a limit, that is 2 milligram per liter. Chlorine having a 1 milligram per liter. These are the limits for disposal in land surface water. Means if any industry or any plant is allowed to dispose the sewer inland surface, then these are the limits or these are the standards for the discharge of sewer and industrial effluent in the surface water. So let us see the details of this one. The process in which the wastewater is eventually distributed over the ground surface, which act as a low rate filter. Suspended particles are strained out, colloidal and organic matter are absorbed by soil particles. Nutrients are utilized by vegetation, and more complex organic material are decomposed to simpler inorganic compounds by soil bacteria. In this method, the sewage effluent either treated or raw is disposed of by applying it on land. The most common form of land applications are irrigation, means the sewage farming, and rapid infiltration. When the raw water or sewage water is applied on the land, a part of it evaporates and remaining portion percolate in a soil. Means whenever this water is allowed to pour on the land, then some part is get absorbed by that soil and some part get evaporate in the air. If proper voids are maintained in a soil, the organic sewage solids are oxidized by a bacteria present in the soil under the aerobic condition. However, if the soil is made of heavy, sticky and fine grained material, the void space will soon get clogged, resulting in non-aerated of these voids, which would lead to the anaerobic conditions and subsequently evolution of fuel gases is happen. Applications of too strong and too hard of sewage will also result in the quick formation of anaerobic conditions. The loads of sewage can be reduced by dilution or pretreatment. Then next is the quality standards for wastewater effluent to be discharged on land for the irrigation. In previous one we discussed about the quality of standards for the discharge of sewage and industrial effluent in surface water and public sewer. In Indian Standard, previously known as the Indian Standard Institution, has a wide his code number 3307-1965 laid down the tolerance limit of various polluting characteristics of waste water on land irrigation. In order to make them legally if, enforceable, the GOI has noticed the standards polluted effluent for the discharge on land under the Environmental Rule 1986. These standards are based upon the quality of irrigation water required by crops. Thus, the limit of concentrations of pollutant contaminant contained in the sewage must be in a limit. For the land disposal, the large area of land, preferably with the sandy soil, this method is generally found to be a better choice in hot climatic areas, and land disposal save in the inland river from getting the polluted by a sewage. Then the next point is the disposal of sewage on a land can be adopted under the following conditions. There are some conditions for adopting this sewage on a land. First one is when the some natural river located in the vicinity. So this sewage is not allowed to flow in a river. When the irrigation water is scarcely available, low rainfall area means if there is lack of water due to the low rainfall, then the sewage is not allowed to flow in a water. These are the conditions. Now next one is the various techniques that are employed for the irrigation crops are. There are three techniques. First one is the surface irrigation. It is also called broad irrigation, subsurface irrigation, and sprinkler, or it is also called the spray irrigation. In surface irrigation, sewage is applied in different ways onto the surface of a land like a free flooding. In subsurface irrigation, the sewage is supplied directly to the root zone of the crop, and in sprinkler spray irrigation, sewage is sprayed over a soil through the nozzle. Means these are three different techniques where the sewage is used for the irrigation, means for the farming. Now the next point is the sewage farming. Sewage effluent can be used for the irrigation farms exactly in same manner as irrigation waste is used for a farming. The next point is the wastewater which can be applied to the land by the following three methods. First one is the sprinkler method, then subsurface irrigation and surface irrigation. We also discuss on it. In surface irrigation, there are again divided into three parts: basin method, flooding method, and furrow method. Out of these, spray irrigation is most commonly adopted in western countries, while the surface irrigation is commonly adopted in India. For the spray irrigation, the sewage should be pretended, otherwise the spray nozzle can get clogged. In the surface irrigation method, the wastewater is supplied directly to the root zone of the plants through the system of the underground pipes which open joints. This method is not suitable for the untreated wastewater containing a lot of suspended solids. In surface method, the wastewater is applied directly on the farm, and depending upon the land preparation and method of application of the wastewater, there can be different methods for the surface irrigation. Then the next point is the sewage sickness. When the sewage is applied continuously on a piece of land, the soil pores or the voids may get filled up and clogged with sewage matter which retain in them. This phenomena of the soil getting clotted is known as the sewage sickness of land. The time taken for such a clotting will depend upon the type of soil and load present in sewage. But once these voids get clotted, free circulation of air will be prevented and anaerobic conditions will develop within the pores. Decomposition of that organic matter would take place under the anaerobic condition, which evolution of the pole gases like H2S, CO2 and methane. This phenomena of the soil getting clotted is known as the sewage sickness. Now, how these prevent? There are some methods to preventing the sewage sickness. In order to prevent the sewage sickness of the land, the following preventive measures are to be adopted. First one is the primary treatment of sewage. The sewage should be disposed of only after primary treatment such as screening, grit removal and sedimentation. This will help in removing settleable solid and reducing the bord load by 30%, so the soil pore will not be clotted frequently. Second is the choice of land. The piece of land used for the sewage disposal should normally be sandy and loamy. The clay lands should be avoided. Under drainage of soil. The land on which the sewage is being disposed, which can be drained if the system of the under the drain is laid below to collect the effluent. This will also minimize the possibilities of the sewage sickness. Next one is the giving the rest to that land. The land being used for the disposal should be given the rest periodically by keeping some extra land as reserve land and stand by for diverting the sewage during the rest period. The land should be thoroughly plugged so that it gets broken up the aerated. Then next point is a rotation of crop, means to preventing the sickness of land. The sewage sickness can be reducing by planting the crop in rotation instead of growing a single type of crop. This will help the utilization of fertilization element of sewage and help in aeration of the soil. Next method is applying the shallow depth, means the sewage should not be filled over an area in a large depth, but it should be applied in thin layer. Greater the depth of sewage on the land does not allow the soil to receive the sewage satisfactory and ultimately result in clotting. So, sewage sick land can be improved the land and made useful thoroughly plugging and breaking the soil, exposing the atmosphere. Hope so you understand all the concept like microbiology of sewage, interpretation of result, then effluent standards of disposal of wastewater on land, surface water and irrigation. In next lecture we will discuss about the sewage treatment units. Thank you.